Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello. Happy weekend, beautiful people. It's Dr. Lauren, host of Bathrobe Moments TV show, executive producer here at the E360 Television Network, and the CEO and owner of Trajectory TV. But today, I'm just Dr. Lauren at home. You're getting the weekend version. But I tell you what I love about this work that we all are invested as far as easing suffering in the world is that there is no time clock. We never punch out. We show up when we're called to. And that's what brings us here today. Listen, all these years that I've been doing this work, I have never written down what I wanted to say to introduce one of these specials. Here at E360 and Trajectory TV, we take great pride in bringing people with forward-thinking ideas, inclusive collectivity, and just are invested in making this world a better place through healing of whatever form to the world. So that's what we're here for. And what I want to say today is that ask yourself, what is it exactly? What is it that's at the core of making it truly through something that in many cases at the time feels, well, earth-shattering? What does it take? What's required in order to finally forget, forgive, or whatever else is required for real closure and healing? Well, today's special may not have all the answers, and if we did, we wouldn't have time to cover them all in this short 90 minutes that we do have. But one thing's for sure, we're going to address one of the most important elements of getting through something, what it takes to overcome. We're going to start today with the heart of an overcomer. Enjoy.
Hello, and welcome to the Heart of an Overcomer. Healed, whole, now what? My name is Latera Wise. I am your host, and I am the Heartwork Strategist. It is my purpose, my passion, and my pleasure to guide women who have survived the traumatic experiences in their life through survival and into the life of an overcomer. I am so excited that you are here today. I have an amazing panel of guests that are going to speak into your lives. We have all had our own individual journeys of overcoming. And so it's important to know that although you may not have experienced difficulties that another person has, there is someone that can relate to you. And so our goal today is just to give you inspiration, yes, motivation, yes, but more importantly, action steps to be able to move from where you are right now, questioning, God, what do I do now? What do I do now that I'm healed, that my heart feels good? How do I serve now? So we're going to help you answer that question today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our guest because I know that this is going to be such a good discussion and I don't want to waste any time. So, my first guest, before I do that though, I also want to thank Dr. Lauren because I didn't do that. I'm so excited, but thank you, Dr. Lauren, for creating this space and allowing us the time to share. So, my first guest is passionate about women's empowerment and is dedicated to inspiring seasoned women as they transition through the path of their own personal journeys. As a 10-year United States Navy veteran with 25 years experience in the corporate world, a wife, divorcee, and a bonus mom to 3 adult children, my guest has a deep understanding of the challenges faced by professional women. She leverages this experience to provide insightful guidance on personal development, growth, empowerment, and transition. In addition to her professional experience, she has a profound interest in biblical topics and the power of prayer. And let me tell you, when she prays, things change. She integrates these elements into her empowerment discussions, offering a biblical approach that nurtures the mind and spirit. Her blend of faith-based wisdom and practical advice empowers women to navigate the challenges of transitioning with grace and resilience. As Gardener of the Growth Gang, she has built an intimate and supported community where women can share their journeys, celebrate their achievements, and uplift each other. Her mission is to empower women to realize their full potential, embrace their unique strengths, and live with confidence and courage. So I am pleased to introduce my first guest, Miss Jan Cade.
Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
thank you so much for joining me today. I am so excited to have you here. I know that there are a lot of women in transition, and we're going to get into it a little more, but to have someone who has navigated many different transitions is something that people need.
Yes,
So
I agree.
we are going to talk about it. I'm going to bring everybody in so that we can have the full discussion. And I'm excited though. I'm
Me
excited
too.
that you are here. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you.
So our next guest is a spiritpreneur, social conscious empowerment coach, and author. She is a trusted and demonstrated Reformation catalyst as it relates to personal liberation and destiny fulfillment. Doesn't that sound powerful? She is a self-proclaimed maverick in the women's empowerment space. Her known contributions are that of restoration to the heart of a woman through the celebration of sacred femininity. She is an alternative wellness advocate and practitioner and is currently the world's greatest auntie. So help me to welcome Sekhmet L to the stage.
Hello.
Hey, Sekhmet.
I sounded kind of good. I liked how you said
You
that.
sound amazing.
Thank you.
Yes, and that doesn't even touch on how amazing you actually are, but we're going to get
Thank
into
you. I appreciate you.
that. My next guest is the Chief Shine Officer and Show Up Strategist, a Bronx born dynamo, inspiring women to step out of the shadows and into their God given assignments. A former paralegal turned entrepreneur, she traded the New York City hustle for Florida sunshine, where she built an award winning event decor business, dazzling the Tampa Bay area with her signature flair. But her journey didn't stop there. Inspired by her daughter's kidpreneur spirit, she unlocked a new level of courage, transforming her success into significance. As a top leader in network marketing, she built a multiple six-figure business and now uses her platform to empower women to build their own tables of greatness through her live show. Oh, if I say the live show name, I'm going to give her away. So through her live show and sold out conference. This guest is more than a motivator. She is a movement, leading by example with faith, perseverance, and joy. Off stage, she's a devoted wife, proud mom, and loyal friend, very loyal friend, cherishing the quiet moments as much as the standing ovations. Her message is clear. Don't just show up, shine. So welcome to the stage, Miss Andrea Harrison. Hey.
Hey, how are you? So happy to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Latera.
Thank you. And so our next guest is the resilient and courageous warrior who has transformed her life from being a cult survivor to becoming an influential voice and leader in the wellness industry. As the owner of Pick Wellness LLC and the president of her nonprofit, Let Glory Shine, she is dedicated to helping others achieve their best overall holistic health, mind, body, and spirit. She is also an Amazon best-selling international author, a dynamic speaker, a life visionary, and a skilled healing workshop facilitator. Her unique blend of professional training, personal experience, and spiritual wisdom enables her to walk alongside survivors and support profound warrior transformations. She is a beacon of hope and inspiration, offering invaluable accountability, motivation, and support to those seeking to reclaim their lives in order to thrive in their own journey towards self-discovery and divine fulfillment. So help me welcome to the stage, Miss Martha Glory. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong because I never actually got the last name pronunciation of your last name. But Miss Martha Glory, I'm going to let you say your last name. Kartawi. You're muted.
Kartawi.
Kartawi, yes. Martha Glory Kartawi. I am so glad you're
Hi,
here.
guys. Glad to
Martha
be here.
and I speak the same language, so I'm very excited.
We do indeed. Thank you for having me and thank you for putting this together.
Thank you. And my last guest, last but not least, is known as the Hope Dealer, a powerful advocate for women's inspiration and empowerment. Once caught in the cycle of gang life and substance dealing, her transformation is a testament to resilience, grace, and the strength of a second chance. Through her journey from the streets to a platform of purpose, she's become a beacon of hope for those seeking a way out of darkness. She now dedicates her life to empowering women to step into their purpose, reclaim their worth, overcome adversity, and pursue a life of strength and courage fortified by the love of God. So, welcome to the stage, Miss Tara Freeman. Hey, Tara.
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me, Latera. So happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. I am so excited, y'all. So, we're not going to waste any time. I'm going to let each one of you kind of introduce yourselves a little bit, but I want you to answer the question. What does being an overcomer mean to you? And since you're in the middle right beside me, Jan, I'm going to start with you. And then we're just going to go around the circle.
It is.
Okay, that's no problem whatsoever. An overcomer means to me someone who has the ability to transition through and triumph through trials and tribulations and different things that they have challenges with in life. It can mean different things to different people, but at the end of the day, it's all about staying the course, doing the work, especially the hard work, and just becoming who God created us to be.
Yes, I love that. Oh, I love that.
Okay, so for me, I said I was going to start like this. There's a short little poem by author Lucille Clifton, and it's entitled Won't You Celebrate With Me? And the last line simply says, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. And so for me, an overcomer by definition is someone who did not know the resilience that they had until an unlikely obstacle came to mess up their path, and they discovered the reason why God created them and added them as contribution and value to the significance of this beautiful design that we live.
Oh, that was so good. Yes. Everything that tried to kill me failed. That's good. Andrea? Hit that mic, Andrea.
There we go. Okay, so as the Chief Shine Officer and Show Up Strategist, I help women to identify their worth so that they can stop hiding, come out of the shadows, show up, and shine. So what does an overcomer mean to me? Well, I'd like to take a look very quickly at the definition. So the definition of trauma is any painful experience that is so deep that it changes you. It changes the way you view yourself. It changes the way you view your purpose and your community. The word overcome is the Greek word nikos, which also means victory. So for me, an overcomer is someone who did not let adversity get the best of them. However, they chose to be steadfast in their faith and trust God to bring them out of their dark place into the light.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. All right, Martha.
Hello. So yeah, as somebody that gets to speak and gets to share stages, I've understood something very particular, that everyone has a story. We've all been through something, and the things that I've been through are not special. There's a lot of people that have been through the kinds of trauma that I have. They don't have my exact story, but we've all been through something. The difference is overcoming, making that choice. To be an overcomer is a choice, and choosing healing, choosing to become a better version of yourself every day is what it means to overcome, right? And for me, to the resilience needed, required, to dig deep and to find your worth, to find your value, to find your identity, that all is wrapped up in what creates an overcomer. And stepping like steadfast in that direction every day, and understanding that it's a process, and being patient with yourself, being kind to yourself, and knowing that this isn't the end, right? We have, this is a journey, and that's what it means to be an overcomer to me.
Yes. See, I told y'all, me and Martha speak the same language. If you've been around me enough, then you know that is my heart, that overcoming is a process. And I'm excited to get through this intro so that we can get into this full discussion, because overcoming is a process. It's not a one-time thing. It's something you continually do, as Martha said, every single day. So, Tara.
Yes, ma'am. For me, overcomer very much describes my life. Matter of fact, years ago, probably over 20 years ago, I was given this little rock that was hand painted with the word overcomer. And at first, when I got it, y'all, I was kind of like, who wants that? You know? But the more I thought about it, and the more God has brought me through various trials and challenges through my life, it's been about kind of what Martha said, discovering your purpose and your value, and taking things that may not have been the greatest hand that you were dealt, and learning how to make a good hand out of it. It's about perseverance. It's about, pressing past your quit and getting over the challenges and obstacles that try to stop us from, this purpose and path that God has for our life. And it's about discovering peace with your past, like having peace with your past. That's what I've done, but that's not who I am. And then learning to have peace with where God is taking you, and just getting into the ride, getting into that process and that journey. And I think it builds a level of strength, and resilience that you can face anything that's facing you.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love The Rock because I have never heard about The Rock,
Yes.
but it's always been spoken over you.
Yes, it has.
It's always been part of your identity. Oh, I
Yes.
love that. So, Jan, we are going to open up with you, and I want to talk about trusting through transition because you have made a few different transitions in your life. And a lot of people get stuck in that place of this is what, you know, maybe being caught up in their employment. This is what I've done all my life, but they get laid off and they're like, I don't know what to do with myself now. I don't know who I am now. So, how do you navigate? How have you navigated those transitions that have come up in your life?
Me personally, I have been able to navigate first and foremost. It definitely started with my faith journey. I lost my parents at an early age, and there were times in my life when, I went through challenges where I really didn't have anybody to call who played a major significant role in my life just to have them, help me navigate. So a lot of it has come from me just having faith and believing that God was going to, help me transition from place to place, doing different things that I've been able to do. Whether it was getting out of the military, coming into the corporate world, and just recently this year, coming out of corporate America, beginning to step out on faith and really become the woman that I know He created me to be.
Yeah, so that let's talk about that because in your faith journey, God told you to quit your job.
Yes, He did.
Now, for some of us, that would be like, yes, Lord, let me go ahead and do it. Without thinking about everything that comes with it, about the uncertainty of, okay, where is the provision going to come from? Give me a few months to prepare. But he was like, no, now. So, how were you able to make that jump and just be okay with where you are right now?
Call Andrew almost every day. No, seriously. A long time ago, God laid it on my heart that I had a mandate on my life to encourage, motivate, and empower women. It's something that I've always done, but He wanted me to do it in a different way. And I was in corporate America. The majority of my day was, it wasn't even 8 hours. It was probably more 10 to 12 hours that I was giving to them. And it just began to seem like the more I was giving to them, the less I was giving to Him and myself. I was beginning to get to a point in my life where I felt depleted. Um, I was in places where I wasn't happy. And I wasn't happy because I realized that I was really being disobedient to what God was calling me to do.
Mm.
So He had told me to come out for quite some time. And of course, we being women, we like to know when, how, where. We want to know everything. And one day it just got to the point that He made the situation where I was so uncomfortable. And that's one thing that I really want people to get from this is the fact that when we're in places that God has not designed for us to be in, He will make it uncomfortable. So,
Yes, he will.
you go through, well, why is this happening? And why is that happening? And why do they act like this? And what? Because He doesn't want you to get comfortable. He doesn't want you to get comfortable until you take that step and you begin to walk in who He created you to be. So it wasn't an easy decision because I am married and I have grown children they're somewhat, self-sufficient, so they don't have to depend on us as much as they used to. But one thing that I did ask God, I said, God, if this is really something that you want me to do, you have to give me a sign. And the sign that I wanted is he had to give my husband peace about it. I didn't want an attitude. I didn't want a argument. I didn't want any of that. It was a specific sign that I was looking for to let me know that what God was telling me to do was what he wanted me to do. And I remember the days leading up to it. I had been talking to my husband and, sharing some stuff with him. And he was even at the point where he was like, well, just quit. Just don't go back. Don't do it anymore. And even with that, I still was questioning God, like, is this really what you want me to do? And he was like, do I have to slap you upside your head? And I can honestly say, stepping out in obedience, God has not missed a beat in blessing me. I have not lacked for anything. Of course, I don't have everything I want, but when it comes to everything that I need, I absolutely positively need nothing. And it has been a journey. I am so grateful. I'm grateful that he chose me because he knows I have a big mouth. And a long time ago, he told me that my life, his glory. So my life is an open book. And if it's anything in my life that I can use to help another woman win, be great, walk in their purpose, that's what I live for.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you, Jan.
You're
'Cause there,
welcome.
there are people who need to know that the transition is not going to be easy.
No,
The transition is the moment when God is like, I need you to put all of your trust in me.
absolutely.
And people, I do want to, because I know that we are all faith-based women. I know that we all have a belief system. But it's important to know that even if you don't believe like we believe, that you can get through the difficulties that you face, that you are not alone in this world, that there are people who have been where you are and that you can still learn and grow from those people. So be encouraged that even if you are in your own place of transition, that there are going to be ways that you are guided through. So thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
Segment.
Yes. I'm a little nervous about the question.
You're a little nervous? Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. I am now, for those of you who I talked to about this, there were some people who the Holy Spirit whispered their names. Segment was a scream. So I know that she has something valuable to offer. And one of the things that kind of interested me is that you have looked at various different approaches to healing.
Yes.
And the thing that you said in our conversation that stuck out to me was that you are in a place where you are being reintroduced to the Holy Spirit.
Mm.
So I want to just kind of hear from you about your journey as a holistic entrepreneur, a holistic healer, all of those things, because I think it's important that we don't keep our view of healing narrow and understand that the path of healing and overcoming is different for everyone. So I want to hear more about your journey.
Okay, first off, I apologize because I think I'm really trying to overcome this technology situation. So let me apologize to everyone watching. This is really embarrassing, but I'm just going to go with how I feel it. I am really being led to speak on matters of the womb. And for me, being an alternative wellness practitioner, whom I primarily serve are women and the issues of the womb, the reproductive area, and the lineage that has created a lot of the imbalances that we all have, right? And so my holistic approach when it comes to the actual spirit realm has been incorporating the studies of the Holy Spirit, which a lot of us are not really privy to if you're just like a ordinary churchgoer or a congregant, or you just don't have a relationship with God. So you don't know that the Holy Spirit is an entity that is workable and communicative to your needs. You don't know that the Spirit is the breath of God that can impede in your right now situation, unless you've been in a cult, you've been in a gang, you've been in a situation where you've had to literally see God for yourself and then develop that demonstration and make that a part of your life. And so for me, I've had to utilize the Holy Spirit in navigating my own womanhood. I am fourth generation on both sides, someone who has been neglected by her mother. The first two generation of women on my maternal and paternal side, they both died in childbirth. Then my parents, their mothers were working 2 and 3 jobs, so that left them to do whatever they wanted to do. And then ultimately, as the curse breaker, my mother decided that she could no longer mother me and gave me away to my father, who then had an addicted wife on substance abuse. And she gave me away with 2 luggage bags, 2 laundry bags, $100 check, and a notary signed of the confirmation of her release of her parental rights. And so for the past 25 years, as I'm now noticing that this is year 25, I've had to really look at the instability in my life that has caused me to have fractured relationships, especially with women, especially with Black women, but especially with me and my womb. And so I've had to really ask the Holy Spirit, not only why was this done to me, but I do remember at the age of 14 when I was given, I believe it's Psalms 27, that God will look after those whose mother and father forsakes them. And ever since I was 12 years old, even though I've had these instances where I've had to have, balances, of course, in my mental health, and I've had to struggle with suicidal ideation and, just realizing who I am, I really had to ask God to inspire his own message in my heart and my womb about the type of woman that he wants me to be, as opposed to what religion would say. What is the definition of this relationship beyond this binded book? Like, are you just found Genesis through Revelation and that's it? Or do you have an imprint for me? Did you really mean for me to be inspired in the womb? Or was this just some genetic disposition that happened and now I'm a mutation of other people's trauma? And so I've had to learn that fasting and prayer and meditation and isolation, those are all great. But I also have to come into agreement that, yes, I was hurt. No, it was my fault, but I am responsible for my healing, and I'm responsible for contacting the source in order to heal me as a resource so that I can replenish the heart of the women that understand what it's like to be broken and bound and then still try to find their way. What is that discussion like when you see everybody else living their life and they're having fun? Why can't I have fun? Why, when I try to portray that I'm doing my best, the portrayal is still in disagreement with what my heart's desire is, which is to be free. So if you really can come and save me, then you can finish the work. And so that work has really taken me down a spiral that I'm sure a lot of women that are watching this understand, where I've really had to surrender my desire to be who I want to be in order for me to be the ultimate design of who I am supposed to be. And so I've had to create a language that is not only uncomfortable for myself, because again, I am a PK, but I've had to really trust that the Spirit of God that spoke lightness from dark, like literally birthing, that transmutation scientific process of calling light from dark matter. When it hits you and you don't know what to do, where are you going to go next? You sit there and then you wait on the Spirit that you say you trust. And so I've had, these different relationships with God, and I'm at a position right now where it's not even just about trust. It's about just use me, just be. I don't want to call it a thing. I don't want to say what it is. I want you to be this proof, because if I do it, I'm gonna mess it up. Somebody's going to get mad. They're going to excommunicate me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to still be tripping. But if you come in and you make me a living vessel, if you make me a living translation of whatever this power is, whatever this dunamis is, whatever it is that came from the beginning and has yet to define what the true end is, then make me a part of that story. And so my relationship with God is an artistic expression of what, as Jesus is written, said, and it is written that we would do greater works. And so that greater works for me has led to doing this alternative work, learning Reiki and learning how to actually lay on the hands and learn body meridians and learn what cellular constructs are and how to heal through leaves and herbs, which in the book of Revelation, it says that the leaves are for the healing of the nation and the nation is the woman. And so we have to learn how to detox our body in order to detox our spirit. And so when we get back into that place with communicating with our womb, we will see the restoration of that balance that God created to demonstrate through the woman. So I appreciate you.
There was so much goodness in that. Yes. Can we get an amen? And I think it's so important. One of the things that I have learned through my healing process is that as I heal myself, not only is my daughter's life changed, I have sons, but particularly my daughter, not only is her life changed, but I can look back and see that my mother is healing because I've healed. I'm sure that we've had instances where, women in our lives our family members have seen themselves differently because we chose to heal.
Yes. And I do want to add, now that you said that the womb is like a record keeper. You know what I mean? So as you're continuing to update yourself through mitochondria, and when you heal yourself, you are actually rewiring your DNA. So continue to do your work, all of you, for yourself and your daughter, so you can upgrade the story of you guys' history.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sequent. And so that actually transitions beautifully into Andrea. Andrea and I have talked a lot about our daddy issues. Let's just say what it is, our daddy issues, and the way that not having that father figure guide us and lead us has led us down the path of rejection and not feeling worthy and not feeling good enough. And I know for me, it shaped the way that I saw God. And so overcoming that is something that we've talked about a lot. So Andrea, I want to talk to you about how you have gone through, because now you are showing up every single day, shining your light, making sure that other women shine theirs as well, making sure that people don't stay in the shadows. You have dedicated your life to that. And so how has overcoming that rejection and that those feelings of abandonment, how has that helped you to show up and be who you are today?
Thank you, LaTara. I think one of the main things is the reason why it's helped me is because I can identify it, because I've been through it. So, my story is unique, and I often say that I am my mother's choice, that my mother chose me. My mother didn't choose to be a part of what brought me here, but she chose me. And I remember sitting at a table, a very long table in the Poconos where my dad lived after I met him when I was about 19 years old. And we tried to have a relationship. And he was sitting at the far end of the table. And I remember us getting into some words. And he told me at 19 years old that he didn't ever want me and that he had given my mother a way out. You can only imagine what that means. Hearing those words, I left Pennsylvania as I was visiting him for the weekend. And I got on a bus. He was supposed to drive me back home to New York City, but I didn't even want to be in the car with him. I got on a bus, walked to the bus station, got on the bus, went back to New York City, Thankfully, it was a Sunday, and I was able to actually go to my church, the church that I have been a part of all of my life. And as I walked through those doors, I just started to cry. And there was a woman there that embraced me. And at a later time in life, this same woman told me, she she prophesied over me, gave me a word of knowledge. And she said to me, you are going to be the mother to many nations. I never understood what that meant. And it wasn't until even when I got older and I got married and my husband and I tried to have a child, and it was 5 years into our marriage and we still weren't able to give birth to a child, or I wasn't able to get pregnant, I was really conflicted and trying to figure out, okay, I got this word of knowledge. I believe in you, Lord. I know what you're saying to me, but why can't I even have a child? I finally did have that child 18 years ago today. 18 years ago.
Amazing.
An amazing, phenomenal human being. But that was God's promise to me. And what I realized is when I got that word of knowledge about me being a mother to many nations, it didn't necessarily mean the children that I would birth, and that God was setting me up for something greater. And so hearing those words from my father, knowing that he never had any intention of being a father to me, getting to know him a little better, I realized that he wasn't even capable himself of giving love.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come to terms with whether I was going to listen to the lies, the things that the enemy wants you to hear and believe, which were the things that my father had said, or listen to the truth, what my mother said about me, but more importantly, what God said about me. And so being able to, it's a daily thing. You know, you don't just one day wake up and say, okay, I'm going to overcome today. And then it just happens. It's a process. You have to learn to trust God through the process, in you showing up and shining and being all that God created you to be. You are setting the example for somebody. You are giving somebody else permission to do the same. And that is the ripple effect, or like we like to say, the shine effect.
Yes.
And so in me doing the work, which I have to say, Latera, you are a very integral part of my healing. You're a very integral part of me getting to where I am. And the things that we've talked about and the things you've talked me through and the many cliffs you've either pulled me back from or, come on, bring it back. You know, you're really, really blessed, and you were created to do what you do. And so my overcoming, it started with me understanding who I am. It started with me understanding who I am in him. Mm-hmm. And it also, I had to really come to grips with, it doesn't matter how I got here.
Yes.
I was not a mistake.
Mm-mm.
God knit me together in my mother's womb. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And whether or not my mother had a choice in it, God used her as a vessel to bring me into this earth. And it's my responsibility to find out why.
Yes.
And when I know why, then I can help somebody else. So me working through overcoming the past helps me to walk confidently into my future so that I can continue to show up and shine and choose joy regardless of my situation. And so I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. That was so beautiful. And I think the thing that sticks out the most is reclaiming your identity. Mm-hmm. From what the enemy would have you believe, from what society would have you believe.
Exactly.
And understanding who you were created to be. So, y'all listen, we're gonna take a little commercial break before we come back with Martha and Tara. I'm gonna leave you on a little cliffhanger. So, be sure to share this out with someone who needs to hear this message. You've heard these stories, and when we come back after we hear from Martha and Tara, we are going to get into a discussion about what it looks like to overcome, get deeper into what it looks like to overcome. So be sure to share this with anyone who needs to hear the message, and we will be right back.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, The Man Behind the Common Black College Application. Thank you, and get educated.
Hello, and welcome back to The Heart of an Overcomer, Healed, Whole, Now What? So, we have two more amazing guests to hear from, and I am so thoroughly excited for them to share. So, we are going to start with Miss Martha Glory. So, I saw Martha on an episode of Dr. Lauren's show, and literally everything that came out of her mouth, I'm like on the edge of my seat, like, yes, exactly. So, knowing your story, well, not actually knowing your story because I don't know your full story, but hearing bits and pieces of your story, to see your smile and to see the joy that radiates from you is inspiring for me. And so I want to hear from you about how coming from a religious cult, how you were able to reclaim your relationship, not only with God and you know, working your way through relationship versus that religious upbringing, but also reclaiming relationship with yourself and being able to trust your intuition and trust yourself as you heal.
Wow, thank you so much, Latera. Yeah, this has been a journey. This has been a journey. As you said, I grew up in a religious cult for the first 26 years of my life. And when I finally escaped and I get entered into this big, bad, crazy world that I know nothing about because I've been isolated, I've been controlled, I freaked out. I didn't know who I was. I had no self-identity. I had no self-awareness. I had no self-esteem. And I had been programmed for 26 years about who I was. So I enter into this new world and I know nothing. I don't know how to navigate. I'm challenged by everything that keeps hitting me. And so I went down a really dark and dangerous road for a lot of years, but I was just trying to figure out who I was. And what ended up happening is I woke up one day and I'm like, I've got to take control of my life. I've got to figure this out because the way I'm going is not serving me and it's not serving the people that I love. I was married at the time. I was raising 2 children and I woke up and I was grossly overweight and I had so many chronic pain issues and I had so many diagnoses of PTSD and fibromyalgia and all of these things. And I wake up and I'm like, I've got to take my life back. But what does that even look like? I don't know who I am. I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. I don't know how to show up for me. I had gotten used to showing up for everyone else, but I hadn't taken the time to get to know me in order to show up for me. It was a lot easier to show up for other people than it was to ask myself that question of, Martha, who are you? Who were you created to be? And what do you want to make of this life? It is your choice. And that like hit me in the face, like a brick wall of like, it is your choice to decide to heal or to stay stuck. And I made a choice in that moment that I was going to heal. And that has taken me down this very long and arduous journey over this last 13 years or so. And I so identify with what Segment was saying because I went down the naturopathic path because I had gone to Western medicine and nobody had the answers because there was not a pill for a cult survivor. There was not a pill to fix the devastation, the trauma, and the pain that was the little girl that was stuck inside of me that was now a 30-something-year-old who didn't know herself. There wasn't a pill for that. And so I had to go and I had to find other modalities that served that and was able to help me dig deep and to go to that little girl, to sit with that little girl, to reassure her, to find her worthy, to find her, to re-identify with that little girl in order to help her grow up to this beautiful woman that you get to see in front of you now. I know I'm loved. I know I'm worthy. I know who God has created me to be. And I'm living in that purpose. I'm living in that passion. And I'm living with this idea that I only get today. I only get this moment. But 20 years ago, next week, is the day I escaped from the cult. 20 years ago. And I get to sit here and I feel so honored and privileged every time that I get to share my story because there's 3,000 other cults in the United States alone. Can you imagine how many little girls there are just like me? Can you imagine how many women are 26 years old or older and they find themselves unable to navigate this crazy world because they were isolated, they were controlled? I need them to hear this. You're not alone. I see you. I'm here. I'm doing the work so that I can help to set you up for success because I didn't have that. I've had to navigate this on my own. I've had to do the work, but now I have the tools. I have the resources in order to help you, to help. I see you. I feel your pain. I've been there. And I feel like God allowed me to go through all of the things that I went to bring me to this moment so that I can now give back. And so I'm honored and privileged to be here and That's the acorn version of my story. But the big is you're not alone. Trauma doesn't, trauma doesn't take away your ability to live a long and successful life, but choosing not to heal will guarantee you an early death.
Absolutely. Oh, I love just the joy and the power and strength of you, because everything that you have been through in those 26 years could have broken you and made you show up as a whole different person. And so to see the beauty of you on the other side, not broken, walking in wholeness, not afraid to go back and get someone else. And that's what overcoming is all about. It's taking your path. It's stepping forward, not focusing on the past, but it's walking forward, stepping forward, and reaching a hand back to bring somebody else with you. So I'm so grateful for your life. Tara, my precious, precious Tara.
Hey.
Hey, Tara is the hope dealer. And your story, when we talk, your story always brings me to tears, because you have survived so much and you are so hopeful, and you have a desire to see women that aren't often thought about
Yes.
healed.
Yes.
So I know that part of your story has been accepting God's love for you,
Yes.
despite all of the things that you have done in your past, and you know how that past has often held you back, but understanding God's love has helped change you. So kind of speak to that and whatever God has placed on your heart for this moment.
Okay. I think that, for one thing, I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up going to church on a regular basis. But my mom gave me a children's Bible when I was very small. And so in her own way, she did introduce me to God, but I didn't grow up in church. And so having gone through some traumatic experiences as a child, and then kind of getting lost in my own way, when I finally did get to the point where I really wanted to know God and understand who he was, I was grappling with the natural earthly relationships. In other words, the frustrations, the letdowns, the disappointments that people had, that I just experienced with people. And I kind of placed that on God. Yeah. So in the beginning, I struggled to really embrace and accept God's love for me, because I felt like all the things that I'd done, whether it was my fault or not, it was just way too much for him to still accept me. I read the words in the Bible, but it never took root in my heart in the early times. And honestly, I'm just now getting to the point at 53 of truly understanding how much he loves me and how he's orchestrated so many things in my life to get to this point right now. You know, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse early off. I'm a survivor of mental and emotional abuse. And then I kind of took all my anger and my rage and my frustration about the things that I'd experienced. Also, abandonment issues I relate to Andrea, like with my own father. But I kind of took all those issues and I stuffed it down into a big old ball, and it drove me into the streets. And it drove me into a life of hustling and just really surviving, honestly, but it came with a lot. And I know that those things were fueled by my anger, my rage, my misplaced emotions, things that I didn't know how to deal with that had happened to me. And then no one was talking about anything. Everything was secretive. So I held on to these things till I was almost 30 years old. But I realized that those secrets were killing me. You know, I realized that the undealt with issues in my life were literally sucking the life out of me. And I was just like, God, you got to help me if you're real. If you're real, help me. And he pretty much transplanted me to a whole new state and gave me a clean slate. And it's taking me almost 20 years to get here. But Latera, I wouldn't trade my journey for the world, because it's allowed me to appreciate the process of perseverance. And for me, that's a big word. That's a big word. It goes hand in hand with overcomer. Perseverance is about, pressing your way through the hard times, the desperate times, the hopeless times, the times when you don't feel seen or heard or like anyone cares about what you're going through or what you've experienced. And not having a whole lot of help doing it either, not having a whole lot of guidance. But God loves me so much that he would bring me into a beautiful spiritual family, as well as the amazing community of Shine, and just some other circles of women and people that have spoken life into me and have helped me discover my value. And I'm even still now in the process of uncovering my purpose. And so my goal in life at this point is to take all that I've been through. Let me read this scripture to you. This is like my foundational scripture. It says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." So when we're going through these hard times, we have to know that it's not just about the struggle. It's about what God is building in us. It's about what he's doing on the inside of us. And it's about the it's like the strengthening of our faith that's happening, but we don't realize it because we're so busy focused on the issue, right? It also says, "Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." And so I'm on the latter side of things now. I'm getting to the point where, perseverance is working its perfect thing in me. I'm getting to the point where I'm not lacking anything because I have God, I have his love, and he's opened my heart to so many beautiful people like yourself. And Latera, like Andrea said, you have been such an integral part of my journey. When you and I sat down and talked privately, one-on-one, it was like all this stuff in my head, but I didn't know what to do with it. And so you kind of helped sort things out and place things where they go and help me shine light on what was important. And so at this point in my life, I want to encourage other women and men and people in general. I'm not just about women, I'm about everybody, because there are hurting souls out there. Yeah. And I want them to know that there is hope for them too. There is purpose. There's a plan that God has for their life. And if I can just be a beacon of light, a source and a symbol of hope, then I feel that my life would have been fulfilled.
Thank you so much, Tara. Oh.
I got the clap noise.
Yes. And you deserve it because you have just the transformation in your life is amazing. And I think one of the things that is a thread that all of us can relate to is that there is a point in your process, a point in your healing where you have to take ownership of not just your healing, but your identity. You have to stop allowing yourself to be defined by everything that you've been through, by what people have spoken over you. And you have made a choice to say, I know what you say about me, but I also know what God says about me. And I also know who I am. And so what has been one of the biggest things that has allowed you to reclaim your identity? And this is for everybody, allow you to reclaim your identity and truly walk in the fullness of who you are.
I would say that it's like God showed me that I've always had permission to be who I am, to be my authentic self. It was me that took the hurt and pain of my life and used that to build this hard exterior and to create somebody else who was impenetrable. I didn't want relationships with women. I didn't want friends because people had let me down. And so I was just like, I'm just, I'm big and bad enough to do whatever I need to do by myself. And God showed me that's so far from the truth, but he gave me permission to discover who I really am, to get rid of all the layers of garbage, all the rubble of life, and discover who he put on the inside of me. And that journey is scary at first, but y'all, it can be so exciting. Like really finding out who you are, who this, amazing person that God created really is. And I was one who did not love or like myself for a long time. I'm just barely getting there, but I'm enjoying the process of God showing me this is who I created you to be.
Yeah. I love that. Martha, I think you unmuted.
Yeah. I love everything she just said because I resonate with that so deeply. When I began the journey of re-identifying with self, I literally had to peel off all of the labels that were put on me by others, by the cult, by my parents, by society, by my whoever, right? I had to peel those labels off to get to the root of who I was and who I wanted to be. And that's a painful, painful uncovering when you realize the identities that you've been carrying around aren't your own. You didn't give them to yourself. And it's also very freeing at the same time. It's really painful, but it's also really freeing because you pull it off and you're like, that doesn't feel like me. That's not who I am. That's not who I've decided I'm going to be. And certainly that's not who God says I am. Right. And yes. So there was this time of where I had to start peeling the labels off, and I had to start saying, no, that's not me. Who does God say I am? Who do I say I am? Who do I want to be? And I had to keep asking that same question as I went through this process, because it was a process, because there were some identities that I had taken on and thought they were permanent. And I thought that that's who I was because they were so ingrained in my persona. They were so ingrained in who I had become. And then I realized I didn't have to carry those either. That was a choice. And that when I realized that, I was like, whoa, okay. Like I can literally recreate who I am. And I get to decide how to rewire my brain. And I get to decide how to heal. And I get to I get that choice. That was like crazy powerful. And that was like crazy amazing. And that was the moment that God reminded me that you are fearfully and wonderfully made in my image. And if that is true, then when I look at myself in the mirror, I have to see myself the way that God sees me. Yes. Because if I don't, then I can't say I love God. I can't say that I trust God. I can't say I have a personal relationship with God because it doesn't align. It's not in integrity with who I am and who I say I am. And so when I realized that, that was the moment where I was like, I have to love her. I have to release her from all of those labels and identities that aren't hers. I have to release her. And so that's been the super most powerful thing that I've gotten to do on this re-identification journey. So thank you for asking.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. And two things that you pointed out that are super important is that you have to love yourself. the word tells us to love our neighbors as ourselves. But if we don't love ourselves, if we don't value ourselves, then it's hard for us to value others and see the worth in others. And so healing us not only heals the individual, but our families, our communities. It heals the world around us. So thank you for bringing that point up. And y'all listen, I am perimenopausal, so that other point just completely went out of my brain. So
I understand, my girl.
but Jan, I think you unmuted as well.
I think for me, it has come down to realizing that the journey that I'm on is not about me. I'm not on it by myself. The things that I've learned, the things that I go through, although they are not easy, I know that they're possible. I have learned that connection is important. Connection and community. Oftentimes we go through things, and we being who we are, we always like to wear the cape, and we always try to act like we're superwoman. We always try to have this mindset of, I can do it by myself. I don't need anybody. But that's not true. That is so not true. And when you hear people say that there is power in numbers,
Mm-hmm.
that carries a lot of weight. There is so much power in numbers, and we can accomplish so much more together than we can ever accomplish apart. So everything that I've learned has been, I realize that I cannot walk this journey alone. And what I go through is not only for me.
I love that. Oh, you get chills. Okay.
I know, right? Woo!
All right. Segment, Andrea, did you want to add to that? What has allowed you to reclaim your identity and move into overcoming?
What has allowed me to reclaim my identity is to learn to see myself the way God sees me. When Martha said that, it just like bells went off in my head. And I think that is what I try to teach the women that I'm assigned to, the women that God assigned to me, is that we have to see ourselves the way God sees us. And so a lot of times we talk about mindset, we talk about changing the way that we think. And when we think things like, I'm not worthy, well, what does God say about that? When we think things like, I don't feel loved, what does God say? He says we are loved. And there's scriptures to back all of this up, right? And sometimes we can get in our heads about things and start telling ourselves a different story. And I love what Martha said when she said, I get to rewrite my own story. I can reclaim my life, and I can turn this ship around. And so when I think about what helped me to reclaim or to identify who I am, is really by seeing and understanding, by relationship, by reading the word, like Jan said, with community, the people that I surround myself with, how we communicate with each other, the support, the not just the support, but the encouragement. Mm-hmm. And I think the main thing for me was showing up, because I hid from my assignment for so long. I didn't want to do it. When God said, I need you to show up and I need you to do it differently than the way that you're doing it, I hid from that for so long. I literally ran from my assignment. And once I started to show up, at first, I had a lot of reasons why I didn't want to do it. And a lot of the reasons that I didn't want to do it, thinking I wasn't enough, thinking I didn't have anything to say, being worried that I would forget what I had to say, not being able to fill 30 minutes or an hour on a live show. And as I started showing up, of course, those things happened. And I had to get to the point where I said, okay, who am I? Why? And I know that I'm chosen. The word says I'm chosen. So who am I? God told me I can do whatever, I can do anything because he is my strength. In my weakness, his strength is made perfect. And so as I started to show up, as I just got started and stopped worrying about things being perfect, and I kept showing up every single day, every single day, every single day. A year and a half later now, I'm seeing, because of my consistency, the doors that get opened. I'm seeing the relationships that I've been able to build. And I see how my obedience helped me to transform my life. And that allowed me to be in alignment with God's will for my life. And so I think being able to see myself the way that God sees me, and believing what he says made the biggest difference for me. But I had to work that out in my obedience. I had to work that out in my show up. I had to work that out in choosing joy. I had to work that out, through my shine. I had to work all of that stuff out.
You got the conga music. Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Obedience, choosing to say yes and show up. Segment. Okay. All right, y'all. So listen, we've got about 14 minutes left. I want to thank my guests for coming today. Don't go anywhere, y'all, in the audience, though, because I have a special message for my overcomers. But I want to thank each and every one of you for showing up and for sharing your stories today. I know that there are lives that will never be the same because you chose to share your story. You chose to show up and you chose to overcome. So I'm grateful for the blessing of each and every one of you, and trust and believe that this is not the last conversation that we are going to have. We are going to dive deeper because your voices are so needed. Listen, I could talk for about 3-4 more hours with you all, but I know we don't have that time. So let's just say this conversation is to be continued. But thank you all for showing up. I appreciate you so much. And I think Dr. Lauren has shared where we can find everybody. But definitely connect to these ladies. If you are in the audience, connect to these ladies because they have powerful stories and powerful ministries, and you will be blessed. I love y'all. So I want to take this moment to thank Dr. Lauren for creating this space for us to come and share our stories, and thank each and every one of my panelists today for showing up in the fullness of who they are. And so you may not have seen yourself in their stories. If you didn't, perhaps you may see yourself in mine. So I was not meant to be here if the enemy had his way. I was born to parents who weren't ready to be parents, who were teenagers, who were just figuring out their own lives. And so the option on the table was that they would get rid of me. And there is no judgment when I say that. There is no malice or anything. It's just facts. But when my mother went to have the procedure, God had other plans. They told her it was too late. And so what couldn't be killed in the womb, the enemy used everything that he could to try to shake and kill the spirit. From being sexually assaulted, from my father not being there for me when I grew up, from having broken relationships with family and friends, all of those things that were meant to destroy me God allowed me to overcome. He allowed me to live a life that is a light for others. And so I want to encourage you today that no matter what you have been through, no matter what you may be going through right now, there is hope and there is more for you. Your life is not meant to be a life of suffering. It's not meant to be a life of pain and discouragement. And yes, you may be in the thick of it right now. But as you have seen from each and every woman represented today, that there is hope and there is more waiting for you. And so as we look at what the heart of an overcomer is, the heart of an overcomer is healed. Healed from past trauma, healed from past pain, but also understanding that healing is an ongoing process. That healing is not linear, that you don't just get over it one day and then life is better. It's understanding that the waves of grief will come. It's understanding that the waves of sadness and disappointment and frustration will come, but understanding that you have everything in you to be able to heal again, to keep going, to keep moving forward. It is empowered, boldly and confidently walking in who God created you to be. As you heard, each and every one of my guests. Oh, that's my husband. I love you. But empowered to walk in the authority of who God created you to be. It is a journey, as everyone has told you tonight. It is a journey, but you are capable of taking that journey. The heart of an overcomer is redeemed. It is not bound to any brokenness, not bound to any pain. It's not bound to the mistakes of your past. There is nothing that you have done that can't be redeemed. So understand that you are an overcomer. Even before you see it, you are an overcomer. Because you still have breath in your body. You still have an opportunity to show up. You just got to claim it. As my guests have said, you just have to claim that identity. Shake off everything that people have put on you that doesn't fit and put on who you are. Who does God say you are? Who do you believe that you are? Who do you know that you are? The heart of an overcomer is affirmed, confident, standing strong in who you were made to be, and transformed. Our lives are transformed by the work that we do. And as we transform our lives, we are able to help others create a path to their own freedom. That is the heart of an overcomer. And so you may be at a place where you are asking, what now? How do I move forward? I feel like I'm healed, but I don't know what to do with that healing. I believe as overcomers, we have an obligation to show up and reach back and help someone else. And so one of the things that, again, each of my guests has kind of spoken on is community, is the understanding that we can't do this alone, that we can't heal in a bubble, that we need people to help us stretch and help us grow. And so I want to invite you to the Overcomer Circle membership. It is a space that I have created for women who are ready to overcome in their own lives, where we don't just talk in theory and we don't make excuses for ourselves. It's a community where you will grow, where you will be able to heal, where you will be supported in your healing, and where you have community that celebrates you, that celebrates every step that you take towards your healing, because they know that those baby steps may feel like giant steps to you, but because you took that baby step, you're healing and you're growing. It's a community that covers you in prayer and shows up for you to make sure that you show up for yourself. And it is a community that challenges you. People who have worked with me and people who have been in my orbit in any type of way know that I refuse to let you stay the same. Because I know that God has placed something inside of you. If you have breath in your body, if you wake up every morning, you have purpose. Because God hasn't created anything in this earth that he didn't have need of. So your life has purpose. And though you may not feel it right now, you may not see it right now, but there is something in you that is needed for this moment and for this world. So you can visit laterawise.com/membership to get more information about the Overcomer Circle, to learn about the benefits of the membership. And one of the things that I was intentional about is making sure that this is accessible for people who want that community and who want to do the work and want to heal, but have kind of been priced out of it. So you can start your journey for as little as $7. So again, laterawise.com/membership. And before I close, I want to leave with you the 3 fundamental truths that if you grab hold of these will help you in your overcoming journey. They will shift your life fundamentally. And as I said, I am a faith-based teacher. So this is based on my faith, but understand that even if you don't believe the same thing I do, you can be encouraged and motivated and changed by this. And so the first is that you are marvelous. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Everything about you is intentional. God created you with specific quirks that other people may not understand, but they fit the lives that you are meant to change. Everything about you is intentional and beautiful. Don't allow anyone to say differently. You are purposed. As I said, God has not created anything that he didn't have need of. Even the gnats and the mosquitoes, I don't really know their purpose, but I'm sure there's one somewhere. God has need of you. Someone on this earth has need of you. Your unique story will help someone heal, will give someone the encouragement to know that I can make it because she did. And you are worthy. You are worthy of everything that God has for you. You don't have to earn it. You are worthy simply because you exist. The last thing, you are loved. Okay, 4. I give you 4 truths. You are loved. There is nothing that you can do that will separate you from the love of God, and that love is all-encompassing. So as you learn to love yourself, it will allow you to love those around you. And it will change the way that others see themselves because you show up in love. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you. Again, visit laterawise.com/membership to learn more about the Overcomer Circle. I want you to know that I love you. I see you. And I am waiting for you inside the Overcomer Circle. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.